Perpescent Studios presents Hitch, a collection of unusual stories. Welcome to the Joyride Podcast, where I bring you joy in my ride. Oh man, I sound ridiculous. Go on a ride of joy with the Joyride Podcast.
Go on a ride of joy with the
Screw it.
Joyride
Why not,
Podcast.
right? Figures. I better get gas before I forget.
Take a ride with Hitch, the only business in town where you can hire a driver to take you to your destination with an app on your phone. Make the world a better place with Hitch.
I walked into the gas station to pay the attendant. Off in my own world, I opened up the door and walked straight into a big burly dude. He had a long burly beard, a Panthers ball cap on, and a flannel shirt. He had to be 6'8", built like a lumberjack. Excuse me, I didn't see it there.
It's okay, buddy.
I instantly thought he was going to be waiting for me outside, but the guy seemed genuine. Definitely not what I expected, that's for sure. I paid the attendant and made my way outside, expecting the guy to be waiting for me. I didn't see him, though. I drove home and relaxed the rest of the night and spent time with my kids. I parked the car in the street since the babysitter's car was in the driveway. I went to open the door and had to quickly slam it shut. My door was almost taken off, and me along with it. A big red pickup truck flew right by, leaving a cloud of black smog at my car. I went inside the house and spent the rest of the night with the kids. I wrote an outline for my podcast for me to try next time I record. The next day, I turned on my Hitch app. Instantly, I received a notification. I am to pick up a Henry Meyer at the Gray Fox neighborhood. I picked up Henry Meyer on Gray Fox Drive. He is a big and tall guy. I couldn't even see his face in the rearview mirror, he was so tall. I picked up Henry on Gray Fox Drive. He's a big and tall guy. I couldn't even see his face in the rearview mirror, he was so tall. Out of all the things I could have imagined him doing for a living, turns out he's a TV producer. That's pretty funny. Here, I'm thinking he's a farmer or a construction worker. He said recently he's really been getting into podcasts. Well, that's funny. I just started a podcast, I told him. He told me he knows. I thanked him for listening. It's hard to get feedback on your own work. Like, at all. Maybe we can talk more about the podcast, he brought up. I dropped him off at the local farmer market shopping center called Turn Up the Beats. Today was a busy work day. Busy is good. Just odd for a Thursday. I go home and create a little recording booth for recording my vocals on the podcast show. Not too shabby. Welcome to the Joyride Podcast. I am your host, Bryan. Today, we talk about productivity. Did you know your commute is a fantastic way to be productive? How much do you commute? Even if it's only a 10-minute work drive, that's 20 minutes a day. That can really add up. Perhaps you could listen to a podcast or an audiobook about your craft, or gain a piece of knowledge. That is an hour and 40 minutes a week, just on your commute back and forth from work. Imagine doing that along with commuting everywhere else. It's time to get productive, people. I'm definitely starting to develop a forward progression on my podcast. I wasn't really sure what I could talk about. I picked up the kids from the babysitter's house. We were all hungry, so we decided to go eat at the Sloppy Pig Barbecue restaurant. We go to turn left into the restaurant, but had to wait for traffic to drive by. Someone was speeding a little too fast, and he was heading straight for us. Wait a second. Pretty sure he's trying to hit us. My kids laughing in the back at each other. My heart pounding out of my chest, making its way up to my throat. I looked back at my kids and told them that I loved them. This red truck heading on inches closer and closer. I gripped the wheel so tight and couldn't move. As soon as the truck was 3 car lengths away, I slammed on my gas pedal and swerved to the right to dodge the truck. The truck missed us. It slammed into the compact car behind us. The car flipped as the truck was plowing through it. All of a sudden, it was like the earth stood still. All I could do was hear my breathing. and look in shock at the damage that has been done to that little car. It was crushed like a tin can. I see the victim barely moving. I snap out of the daze I was in and scrambled out of my car to go check on the victim. I get over to the car, shattered glass, metal, and plastic all over the scene. I kneel down to look inside the car. Then the red pickup truck peeled off and fled the scene. "Are you okay?" I asked. The lady slowly turned and looked at me. It was like she realized where she was and started screaming. I called 911.
911, what's your emergency, please?
My name is Bryan, and I just witnessed a fatal car accident over by the Sloppy Pig barbecue. The car flipped over and is crushing this lady inside. She's in really bad condition. She's screaming, bleeding. I can't do anything.
The EMS and police arrive at the scene. They had to cut her out of the car. Both of her legs were missing. I'm not sure if she even realizes it. She's in so much pain and shock that she passed out after they dragged her out of the car. I gave my statement to the police. We decided to drive through somewhere for food. That accident took up a lot of time. I'm sure I can speak for all of us when I say we're starving. The kids go to bed, and the babysitter comes over so I can go back to work. Henry Meyer. Might as well get going now. I go to pick up Henry and notice a large gash in his head. I've been working at Hitch for a little while now. My intuition tells me this isn't right. What happened to your head, Henry?
I'm not sure. I just woke up and my head was bleeding.
Do you need me to take you to a doctor?
No, I'm okay. It's just a scratch.
Just a scratch? Henry, you have an extremely deep cut in your head. Henry insisted that he's okay and just wants me to take him to the store. I act like I'm leaving. I act like I'm turning out of the parking lot. Instead, I park in a spot far away. I noticed that Henry didn't go inside that store. He walked past it and to the mechanic shop. Inside, I see the big red truck. My phone starts to ring from an unknown number. I never answer those. I received a voicemail.
Hey, Bryan. It's Henry. I'm giving a call because of your podcast. See, I have a few people in the industry that like what you're doing, and they'd like to sit down and talk. So give me a call back if you're interested. Okay, thanks, bye.
How did Henry get my number? I'm done with that guy. I should call the police on him, actually. I'm gonna call it today and get some rest. This job, it's been draining lately. It's becoming unhealthy and affecting my well-being. I get home and see a note on my door. Why haven't you called? Henry. I called the police station. If he knows where I live, this affects my family. I give them all the information on the car accident, the phone call, and the note, but it still didn't give them enough motive to act on it. There's no proof of threat, and it can't be proved that it was him at the scene of the accident. I went onto my dash cam to check the video of the past few days. Every pickup and every drop-off had that red truck there, even at my house. I looked out my bedroom window, and he's there. I fell out of view. My heart pounding rapidly, breathing became heavy. I need to find out what to do, but the cops won't do anything unless I'm dead. There was a loud pounding on the front door. I could see Henry walking around the house. He got in his truck and drove away. He called me later that night and left another voicemail.
I'm always watching. I'm always listening. I'm always here.
Today is a slow day. In 8 hours, I've had 3 riders. It may have something to do with the Hitch app. The riders that did have said the app was glitching. It would open up, then cancel itself out every time you go to schedule a pickup. I might as well go get some lunch. I'm hungry and need something to do. I drive through somewhere and pick up some chili. Yeah, I know, not the best thing to eat in the car, but it's a mix of sleet and snow outside, and it's the perfect comfort food. All it needs is some cornbread. With honey butter spread on top. I drive back over to Main Street and park in a central location, so I can snag a rider when I get a chance. I look up at a tree and see the branches dancing with vigor in the howling wind. Did you know that trees have a heartbeat? They don't necessarily have a heart, but more like a rhythmic beat that pumps water up to its branches. The heartbeat's so slow that we never notice until recently. These are the things in life that fascinate me. Yeah, I'll focus the podcast more on this subject. It lets me still talk about philosophy, but also lets me learn about everything in the world. I could call it, Did You Know? That's so much better than Joyride Podcast. I open up the bag my chili's in. What a surprise, no napkins. Living that Hitch life, I keep extra napkins on hand for riders. I pop open the glove compartment and a spider comes out. I instantly smash that 8-legged freak. I can't let that thing run wild in here and bite me or the riders. I grab the napkins and my chili. I dig in the chili with my spoon. I feel my whole right arm tingle. I look at my arm and see hundreds of baby spiders covering my arm. I panic and violently swat them off. Some fell onto my leg. I could feel the spiders piercing my skin. I open the door, unbuckle my seatbelt. My entire right half of my body is paralyzed. The hundreds of spiders multiplied. There were so many spiders, I couldn't see my skin. My entire body is now paralyzed. They crawl into my ears. I can hear them screaming, clawing, and biting in my ear canals. Hundreds crawl into my nose, down in my throat. More flow into my mouth as I'm screaming in agony. Then more crawl into my eyes and my eyelids and deep into my eye sockets. I'm now blind. I think my heart is gonna stop. I can't hear, feel, and now I can't breathe. Is this it? Is this how it ends? Huh? What the? What a crazy nightmare. I swear, if a spider comes out of that glove box...
Welcome back to WRK5. This is your host, Raven, and I've been dying to be back on air, only because I get to play the latest and greatest terrifying stories, fresh off the press for your ears to hear. This one ain't no joke. You might want to keep the lights on. It's the Creepy Pasta Radio Hour.
One evening I was going for a run. It was already a long day's work at the hospital, but I must keep a strict schedule if I want to run a personal best in this year's Boston Marathon. Today is an easy run for 60 minutes. I open my front door and start my run right away. As usual, I have my headphones in. I like to listen to new music or audiobooks on my easy run, or else I run too fast, then my hard workout days are grueling at best. I make my way through the winding roads in my neighborhood, up a short incline hill, down into the park. The park is closed after dark, but I know a way in. I feel a little safer in there. No cars are there to hit me. I run the outside loop, which is about 4 miles long, then make my way out of the park. Before I leave, I see something standing at the entrance I came in at. The more distance I close, the more that something turns into a someone. I stop dead in my tracks and turn my music off. I don't have my phone with me. I usually do to listen to music, but my battery was dead, so I used an old MP3 player instead. The shadow figure stands still as a statue. The air is still tonight, so any noise whatsoever will set off an alarm. I walk back into the park and find a way to sneak through the woods out onto the road. I find a spot far away from whoever that is blocking the entrance. Making my way out from the brush and trees as quiet as I can, I hear a snap from a twig nearby. Instantly I crouch down. Someone is to my right. That guy is fast. But then someone on my left comes walking up to the other guy. Catching a glimpse of him from a streetlight strikes me with fright so hard that my breathing becomes out of control. He has red curly hair, white makeup pancaked on, and an abnormally long chin. One side of his face is black. His nose, eyebrows, and lips are painted red as blood. His teeth are sharpened. They are the real thing. His soulless eyes are all black. As he walks, I can hear jingles from little bells that he is wearing on his torn and faded costume. They are standing at least 6 feet 5 inches tall and about 10 yards away from me. If I stay here,